Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Islamic History Grade 6, Lesson 7, the Battle of Khaybar and Umratul Qada, the year 7 AH. The key words: Banu Nadir, Khaybar, 600 Sahaba, Hadrat Ali radiallahu an, 70 men, Umratul Qada, 3 days, Hazrat Maymuna radiallahu anha. When Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam settled in Medina Munawwara, there were the 3 groups of the Jews that were living there: the Banu Nadir, the Banu Qaynuqa, and the Banu Qurayza. And we know that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam signed a treaty with the Jews so that they may all live in peace. However, the Banu Nadir, this group, they planned in the 4th year of Hijrah that during a meeting with Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they plotted to drop a huge boulder on Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and by means of this, they would kill Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They would assassinate him. Thus, the Banu Nadir, they were banished from Medina, and when they were banished, they settled in a place called Khaybar. When the Banu Nadir was banished from Medina, they settled in a place called Khaybar. They began inciting the neighboring tribes to fight against the Muslims. Hence, there was a need for the Muslims to take control of their base and to destroy their power. So, not only did they go away from Medina, but once they were gone, they continued to trouble the Muslims by means of stirring up trouble with the other tribes, inciting the other tribes to fight against the Muslims, and they caused a lot of mischief and problems. So in order to maintain safety, it was necessary that the Muslims take control of their bases. That is why in Muharram or Jumad al-Ula 7AH, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and 1,600 Sahaba left for Khaybar. 1,400 Sahaba were on foot and 200 riding on animals. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala granted the Muslims victory, and they gained control over all the forts of the Jews. Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu played a great role in this jihad and lifted the door of Khaybar himself, whereas 70 men were unable to even shake it. It is for this reason that he was known as the conqueror of Khaybar. So we see such great physical strength displayed by Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh, that he was able to pull out the door of the fort of Khaybar, which 70 other men barely managed to pull, and they could barely shake it. Such was the strength of Hazrat Ali radiallahu anh. The following conditions were laid down in the treaty with the Banu Nadir. Number 1, they will remain in Khaybar for as long as the Muslims wished. When the Muslims permit them to move, then only will they move out. Number 2, a portion of their crops should be handed over to the Muslims. So whenever they produced any crops, they would have to send a portion of that to Medina Munawwara as provisions for the Muslims. Umratul Qada. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam performed the Umratul Qada, which he missed the previous year when the Treaty of Hudaybiyah was signed. So we remember in lesson 6, we discussed the Treaty of Hudaybiyah when Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam set out to perform Umrah, but he was prevented by the Quraysh, and they signed a treaty, and one of the conditions was that the Muslims will not perform Umrah this year. Instead, they will come back next year to perform this Umrah. When they come back, they will only be allowed to stay for 3 days. And after 3 days, they would have to leave from Makkah and return to Medina Munawwara. It was stated therein that the Muslims would only be allowed to perform Umrah in the coming year and would be allowed to stay in Makkah for only 3 days. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Sahaba radiallahu anhum adhered to this treaty. After performing Umrah, they returned to Medina Munawwara. During this journey, Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam married Hazrat Maymuna radiyallahu anha. On the next page, page 42, there are the questions 1 to 6 pertaining to this lesson. After you have revised through the lesson, then you should answer these questions in your notes, your notebook or your workbook, and